I'm a big fan of Ray Kroc, if you're not familiar with Ray Kroc, and Ray Kroc is actually the founder of McDonald's. One of the things that he was able to do was he was able to find the best people to surround himself with. And you can read his book, and it's called Grinding It Out. It's an excellent book, and he talks a lot about how he found the best people to surround himself with. And he was basically a solopreneur. When he started off, he was a one-man show. You know, he went out, he sold, and that's all he did. He sold shake mixers. And then when he started to get together with the McDonald brothers, and he said, yeah, I have a dream to build this thing into a huge conglomerate where it's, you know, the next best thing, you know, they laughed at him. They said, oh yeah, how are you going to do that? But he went and found the best people and surrounded himself with the best lawyer, the best real estate agent, the best, all these people were the best of the best. And as a solopreneur, that's your job too. You have to find the best that are going to find your vision.
On this show, talk about your dreams, aspirations, goals, whatever you want to discuss that's going to help somebody get better.
As far as being a business mentor, I've actually been, my father started off as an entrepreneur, and he owned a lot of apartment buildings, he owned a drugstore, he owned a lot of little businesses in the area, and unfortunately my father passed away at the age of 42. And when he passed away, he left a lot of things for my mom to clean up. She was unable to do it. She was actually a stay-at-home mom, and she wasn't able to do a lot of the things that she thought she could, so she had to learn a lot. And a lot of the things that she had, apartment buildings and the homes that my father left, he was kind of a real estate investor, and we had to give it all back to the bank. So my mom lost all the things that he had created. And as I saw this, I was just a kid. I was like 13, 14 years old and when he passed away. And in seeing that, I noticed a lot of business owners that they would struggle. And my thought was that if I wanted to create anything, I wanted to be able to give back and help other entrepreneurs and help other businessmen. So I started doing a lot of things on my own and learning from some of the things that he gave me, which is some of the things that I talk about in my book. And that's kind of how I started, you know, becoming a business mentor. I went off and started my own business. I tried to do it on my own, found out the lone roof wasn't the way to do it. And I had some wins, I had some losses, and I started putting together what were some of the wins, and how I started creating that was I started putting these ideas down on paper. And I started to realize that these things really did help other business owners. People were starting to come to me and say, hey Frank, how did you do that? What did you do? And so I started giving them ideas on what I did and helping them within their business. So then I started really putting it all together. Coaching other companies and become more of a transformational coach than just a business coach. Because when I get together with a business owner, I want to transform them. Once you start to go and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish and this is what I want to get, you know, put together, everything else starts to fall into place. You'll run into somebody at a grocery store who's doing the same thing you're doing and that you want to partner with. You'll meet somebody on a bus, or you'll be, you know, going down the hallway here at the school and you run into somebody that you met. And look at, you know, Bill Gates and, you know, Steve Jobs. All that, they gathered the best people around them. When they started off, they were just solopreneurs. So that's what you're looking to do, is find people who have your dream and your vision. And by doing that, you create a company, you create a corporation, you create people around you that could help you become the best that you are. And that's really what you're looking for, people to pull out the best of who you are. All those people that I mentioned had people pull out the best of who they were. They couldn't do it on their own. You know, so you start off as a solopreneur, absolutely, but you have to learn to, you know, surround yourself with the best. When you really pay attention to what you need to do and you align yourself, and that's the key thing. And when you have an aligning, the aligning is the most important. It's critical. Align yourself with the best of the best. It doesn't help to get yourself a second-rate anything, second-rate, whatever it is. You want the best of the best. And when you're able to do that and really put it together, I think that it really has something to say for not only your character, but for your attitude towards that goal that you're trying to achieve. I mean, when you're working with the best of the best, what else I'm not going to have you disturb us with your negativity. They did a study out of the University of Harvard, and they found they took one guy who had a negative attitude and they put him in with a bunch of people who had positive attitude. And guess what happened? By him saying no negativity, you got to go. That's the way it goes. We're not going to tolerate it. So what you want to do is you want to create an environment where people want to go, where they want to be part of it. You know, it's drop the attitudes at the door. You know, my biggest thing, again, I don't know how to stress it, but having a great attitude in your company, it's contagious, and it helps with productivity. It helps grow that business. Once everybody's on the same page, that's where it creates. That's the first thing. I think also you want to make sure that, you know, we did talk about, you know, making the impossible possible, make sure that you have that skill. But in creating that culture within the office, you want to make sure that everybody has that same feeling. You know, I do some team buildings with other companies, and we get everybody together and we go through a lot of different exercises, and it's just to make you aware of who these people are. You know, take some time and learn about the people who you're with. Who are the people that you work next to? You know, a lot of times we don't even know that. You know, we spend a lot of time with these people every single day, but we don't know who they are. Take that time, you know, get connected with them, you know, whatever it might be. Be able to go out and cut up, you know, just to have some fun with the people that you work with. You spend 8-9 hours with them a day. And being able to do that is something that a lot of companies don't do. But again, if you go to Google or Amazon, you know, that's what they're doing. You know, you try to really look at these companies that are the great companies, and you try to mimic what they're doing. You know, one of the greatest things, one of my mentors, Tony Robbins, one of the things he always says is modeling. Yeah, you model the best of the best, and if you're going to pick somebody, pick the best person to model, and that's who you really want to emulate, the best of the best. So once you get that, and in building that company culture, it really helps to understand where everybody is. Because again, how many times have you walked in a room you could tell somebody's got an attitude, or somebody's not in a bad.
Yeah, best software or best website to get new recruits and build a team?
To say, you know, as much as it hurts to say this, I would have to say Facebook. I mean, I think that's a great place to connect with people. LinkedIn is also very good, but I'm going to have to go with Facebook. Facebook is the leader. They're the best right now.
You see the real version.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So you hire the right character.
Absolutely.
That's great.
A lot of times what business owners do is they get very complacent to where they are. So they tend to stay in the same place, doing the same things, hoping that there's going to be a change. So they need to, at some point, they need to get out of the way, and they really need to make a change for themselves, because if they continually do the same thing the same way, you're going to get the same results. And by changing the way you think, you know, I always encourage the clients that I work with to think bigger. How do you think bigger? You know, a lot of clients I get together and say, hey, Frank, you know, I really would love to go on that 4-week vacation. I would really love to do those things, but I just don't have the time. And the reason they don't have the time is because they're not willing to do anything different. What are you willing to do? And a lot of times where it comes down to is it's not about the sales. It's not about more sales. It's actually about putting together your team and giving them the vision that they need so that they can succeed. Because it's not about more sales. Whenever I get together with companies all the time, and 75% of the time it's not sales. It has nothing to do with sales. By bringing people together and finding out what the problems are within the business, they're able to see what they can do to make those changes different. And then you start to think bigger. And when you think bigger, you act bigger. So that's kind of how it all comes together. To start off right, you want to get the right fundamentals. I actually had a girl who actually went to Harvard, and she read through the book, and she's like, I learned all this in Harvard Business School, but I forgot it all. She's like, all these things are the same thing that they teach me at a 2-year MBA. And you spend $200,000 doing it, no offense to FAU, but you're spending this money. If you take that book and you apply that knowledge, you will become a successful business owner. But you need to apply it. And it's not just about the book, because again, it's like buying equipment to work out with. You could have it there and I could, today I'm going to try a treadmill, tomorrow I won't. You need to have somebody there who's going to push you to change your perspective of what your business looks like. If you can't change the perspective of somebody's business, it's not going to work. They need to be able to see differently. They need to be able to see their business differently. And the moment they do, that's when the change happens. And when that change happens, that's when they start to think about, how can I make more money? It's all just asking the right questions. It's changing that mindset. And when you're able to do that, it really changes the way people look at their business. And that's the exciting part for me, once they start to see things differently. I mean, I've worked with teams, it's great because after 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes after 2 or 3 months, it's just to be able to see the difference in the way they're thinking towards the same. Habit. You know, let's work together. Let's grow your business together. I can give you all the books in the world, and they're great. I love them. But guess what? At some point, it's too much information. Let's transform you.
Less information, more transformation.
That's right.
Thank you. I'm here with the business mentor, Frank Lind. Thank you for coming here on the show. It was really great, very insightful. I hope you can learn one thing. One thing I would learn is to create a team. Don't be an asshole. You know, be a good person, and take those glasses off. You know, put some new ones in and have a different perspective.
Absolutely.
The Business Mentor. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you very much for being here, Coach Lynn, on the show. I think you summed it up pretty well with the last thing you said. I'm going to leave it at that. And you're tuning in to the Unlimited Power Show. My name is Edward Gills, and I want to remind you that you have unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want. But until you believe that, the world will forever miss all the gifts, the talents, and all the great things you have to offer. Thank you very much for